Hello, everyone. This is Kayleen Heaton. I am an ISAC Professional Development Specialist, and I am going live to you guys through our ISAC Facebook page. So hopefully, let me make sure this is working. Facebook Live changed their how you go live feature. So hopefully this is working for you all. But again, my name is Kayleen Heaton, and I'm a Professional Development Specialist for the Illinois Student Assistance Commission. And today, what we're going to be discussing is our ISAC resources. So for those of you that have been tuning in from week to week, normally we do these in pairs. So normally we have two of the training staff on here to kind of discuss whatever the topic is going to be. But today I'm going to be doing a monologue. So I did that right at the start of the stay-at-home order, and I will be bringing it back and doing it again for today's Facebook Live. So for those of you that can join us live, if you have any questions or any comments or anything that you want me to cover, please feel free to throw a comment in the comment section, and I'm going to be monitoring that as I go through this. Other than that, though, I am just going to start sharing some of our ISAC resources with you all. So the first thing, an excellent resource for students, is going to be our student portal, which is, you can get to it at studentportal.isac.org. So this website is designed to be for students, and it contains all of our resources that are specific to students. It also has a lot of our the partnerships that we have with ISAC with some different organizations, which I'll cover those. And additionally, it has information about your ISAC core member. There's a ton of great stuff that you're able to find on our student portal. So I'm going to first go through the resources that we have housed there, starting with the financial aid comparison worksheet. So if you go to our ISAC student portal, at the top, you're going to see there's a bunch of different sections that you can go into. But our toolbox is where you're going to find the financial aid comparison worksheet. So what this worksheet is, and the reason that I wanted to start with this one, is because it's especially relevant with the current time frame that we're in. So typically, financial aid offers are given out by colleges for students that are seniors at around this time. So this is typically when students are receiving their financial aid offers from any colleges that they applied to and were accepted in. So with those financial aid offers, they can be very difficult for students to try to break down and figure out, okay, what is actually the out-of-pocket expense? The reason being is because these financial aid offers can be formatted differently from school to school. So if I applied and was admitted into, 5 different institutions, and I received financial aid offers from all 5 of them, the layout of their financial aid offers could look different on all of them, which makes it really hard to compare and to get an idea, okay, which school is my most affordable option? Which school is the most expensive? It can be difficult because it's like comparing apples and oranges. They're not laid out the same. So on our ISAC student portal, we have this financial aid comparison worksheet. Now, there's 2 different ways that you can use the worksheet. We have an online version of it. So if you use the online version of it, this is what I tend to prefer, because the online version is going to do the math for you. And if you are like me and you are not a huge fan of math, this can be a super helpful resource because you don't have to worry about doing the calculations. It's going to do it for you when you input the numbers online. We also have a paper version available. So there is a PDF version that you can print out. And typically I am the type of person that does like to work. If I'm doing homework or anything like that, I like to do it with pen and paper. So this can be really beneficial if you are one of those students that's like, yep, no, I like to have something tangible and concrete in front of me and I want to work through it that way. You also have that option. So first you pick whether you want to use the online tool or whether you want to print the paper version of it. But then what the tool does is it allows you to compare up to 3 financial aid offers at a time. So if I have 6 financial aid offers, I would go through that. I would either use the online tool twice. So I would have my first batch of 3 schools and then my second batch of 3 schools, or I would print out 2 copies of the paper version so that I can compare all 6. I would have 3 compared to each other and then another 3 compared to each other. But what it's going to ask you for, it's really simple. When you use the tool, it's going to ask you for the breakdown of each type of aid that is listed. So as you are going through the tool, it's going to ask you, did you receive any federal financial aid? And it'll ask you specifically, did you receive the Pell Grant? So you would take your financial aid offer and you would look to see if the Pell Grant is listed. If it's listed, then you would list the amount that you are receiving. If it's not listed, you would just put 0 and move on to the next item. So the nice thing about using the financial aid comparison tool on our ISAC website is that it allows you to better understand what type of aid you're being offered on your financial aid offers. And also, after you input all of the information about one school, it allows you to compare it to more schools. So you get to compare it to up to 3 schools at a time. So the nice thing is you get a very clean side-by-side comparison, and it's going to tell you what your out-of-pocket cost is. So if there is any financial need that is unmet and you're going to have to come up with that money in order to attend, it's going to let you know that, which is definitely something that is very crucial for students to know, because that can be a make or break deciding whether or not you would attend an institution. Additionally, it's also going to tell you what your estimated student loan debt would be after 4 years. Because something that often confuses students is when you are looking at your financial aid offer, that is just for the 1 year. So that is just for whatever year you have completed. If you're, a senior, it's just for your freshman year of college that you are seeing the amount of aid that you're being offered. So if you see that there's a loan for $5,500 on your freshman year package, and you know that you are pursuing a bachelor's degree that's going to take 4 years to earn, times that loan by 4, because that's likely the amount of student loan debt that you'll need to take out in order to graduate with that, whatever that degree is. So the financial aid comparison tool, again, this is a super beneficial tool for students that are seniors in high school and that have received their financial aid offers and want to compare to see, okay, how do the finances shake out? And again, I strongly recommend that you use this. Even if you've only applied to one school, you can still use the tool because it's going to help you to break down all of the different types of aid being offered so that you will clearly know, okay, what is gift aid? Aid that I've been awarded and I don't have to pay back. What am I being offered that's loans? Am I being offered any work study? Is there an out-of-pocket cost? It really does a great job of helping you to break it down. So I highly recommend using that financial aid comparison tool. Again, if you are a senior in high school or if you have just applied to schools and you want to compare your financial aid offers. Then we have available, again, and this is going to be in the toolbox section on the ISAC Student Portal, we have the MAP Estimator. So what the MAP Estimator allows you to do is it allows you to calculate what the estimated amount of the MAP grant is that you are likely to receive. So that being said, it is an estimator, so this is not by any means the, exactly what you are going to get with MAP. However, it gives you an idea of whether or not you would be eligible to receive any of the MAP grant. So it can be kind of a good way to help students decide, especially if they're looking at schools that are in-state and out-of-state. It can be a good way for students to decide, oh, hey, look, according to the MAP Estimator, I would qualify for a decent amount of the MAP grant. Maybe I should stay within the state of Illinois because, again, the MAP grant, the Monetary Award Program grant, is an Illinois grant, so it can only go to Illinois MAP-approved institutions. So if I'm looking at a school that is out of state and also a school that is in-state, and I use this MAP Estimator and I realize, oh, hey, I would qualify for, I'd potentially qualify to receive the MAP grant, that might be enough to persuade me to stay within the state of Illinois because that's additional financial aid I could receive, and that's gift aid, money I don't have to pay back just for staying within the state of Illinois. So with this MAP Estimator, the reason that we have it is when you complete the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, it is not going to show you any type of state aid that you qualify for. Because again, the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. So when you get that student aid report and that confirmation back from the FAFSA, it's only going to show you federal student aid. Then you will see any state aid that you qualify for if you complete your FAFSA and you send it to schools within Illinois. If you are admitted to that school and once they give you a financial aid offer, that is where you would see any state aid because it is only going to show up at, again, Illinois institutions. So if I have applied to an out-of-state school and an in-state school, I'm not going to see any state aid on my out-of-state school's financial aid offer, but I would see state aid on my in-state financial aid offer because that school is within the state of Illinois, so it knows that I would qualify, so it would show up on that financial aid offer. So that being said, if you complete your FAFSA, say you're really good about it and you complete it right when it was released on October 1st of 2019, and you're wondering, okay, I qualify for the Pell Grant, will I qualify for the MAP Grant? You can use this MAP Estimator to get an idea of whether or not you will qualify for the MAP Grant. It's going to ask you for your expected family contribution. So that is a number that is generated when you complete the FAFSA. That's your EFC. So it is really beneficial if you complete your FAFSA, if you're trying to use the MAP estimator, because a lot of the information it's asking you for is going to be contained in your, or it's going to be information that you had to provide in your FAFSA or information that you got from completing your FAFSA. Again, though, just keep in mind with the MAP estimator, it is an estimator. So this does not mean this is money that you are guaranteed to receive. This is just saying that it is likely based off of the numbers that you've inputted that you would qualify or you wouldn't qualify, or it would be for this amount. So it's just a good idea to kind of give you an idea of whether or not you would be eligible to receive that MAP grant. Additionally, another and one of my favorite resources, and I think one of the most beneficial resources that we offer at ISAC is our ISACorps. So we have our ISACorps is comprised entirely of recent college graduates, and they are scattered throughout the entire state. So they are scattered throughout all the different community college districts within Illinois. The job of these ISACorps members is to serve as near peer mentors to students and their families as they go through the post-secondary planning process and the financial aid process. So ISACorps members are there to help students. So they can do, and a lot of times students will first encounter their ISACorps members at either their high school or a community-based organization. And the core members, they can provide presentations. So they have a whole list of presentations on, college going and financial aid. And additionally, they're available for one-on-one meetings with students, and they are available to act as that near peer mentor. So now, obviously, with COVID-19 and the shelter-in-place order, our core members are not meeting face-to-face with students. However, they are still working. So they are still out there to help students. Students can call, students can email, students can schedule, to come up with some type of, online meeting with the ISACorps member. They are still out there. They are still ready to help students, even though they just cannot do face-to-face meetings currently. So that being said, if you're like, this sounds great, I would love to know who my ISACorps member is because I have questions about, either completing the FAFSA or the alternative application or verification or, interpreting my award or my financial aid offer, you can reach out to your ISACorps member. So on our student portal, there is a separate section up at the top that says ISACorps. And if you click on that, it allows you to put in your zip code, and it is going to tell you the name and the contact information, and it'll give you a little picture. It'll also let you know if they're bilingual, if they speak a different language. And if you put in your zip code, it's going to let you know which core member is working nearest you. You want to reach out to the core member that is working nearest you. So just put your zip code in, and that would be the core member then that you can contact with any type of questions that you have. Again, the awesome thing about the core member is they're real people. They also have just recently gone through this process themselves. Like I said, they're all recent college graduates that we've trained extensively on financial aid and the post-secondary planning. And then with ISACorps members, I think, again, the really nice thing about it is, especially during these times when you can really want to just, talk to a real person, these are real people. So you can give them a call, you can send them an email, and you can work through any type of issues that you're having or any questions that you might be having with the post-secondary planning process or, again, with the financial aid process. All right, so then some of the other resources. Oh, and I can see Lilia commented asking if this would be available as a recording later. Yes, it will be available. So all of our Facebook Lives, there's the recordings of them so that you can watch them at any time if you're not on live right now. And additionally, feel free to share these and to repost these because the more students that we can access with this information, the better. So then getting back to the ISAC resources, so I covered some of the resources that are in our toolbox section. Then I covered that little ISACorps section. Now I'm going to cover the resources on our student portal that are in the section labeled resources. So if you go to our ISAC student portal, and again, the link for that is studentportal.isac.org, and I will include that, the hyperlink for that in the comment section at the end of this. But with that studentportal.isac.org link, if you go to the very top on the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see a resource section. In this section, this is filled with a bunch of different resources that we have, which are partnerships with other organizations. So one of the partnerships that we have is with College Greenlight. So collegegreenlight.com is a scholarship search engine. If you access collegegreenlight.com through our ISAC Student Portal, two things happen. You're going to get the ad-free version, and they're going to take out any proprietary schools. So we highly, highly recommend, because of the partnership that we have with College Greenlight, that you access College Greenlight through our ISAC Student Portal. Or if you type in the link, it's collegegreenlight.com, be sure you add the /ISAC, because if you do that, again, it's going to take out any ads, and it's going to take out any proprietary schools as well. But what College Greenlight, the big feature that we like probably the most about College Greenlight, is the scholarship search engine component of it. So with College Greenlight, if students, once they log in to collegegreenlight.com, or once they open collegegreenlight.com, it'll prompt them to create a profile. If the student creates the profile, they are going to be self-disclosing information about themselves. So they can put as much or as little information as they are comfortable with revealing about themselves. And with this information that they report, what's going to happen is it is used to match the student to scholarships that they would be eligible to apply for. So the nice thing about it is if you're using collegegreenlight.com, it is going to bring the scholarships that the student is eligible to apply for to the student. So it's going to generate a list for them saying, hey, based off of your profile, these are matches of scholarships that you would be eligible to apply for. Whereas if you have a student that is just kind of, taking to the internet and that's just going to Google scholarships to see what they can apply for, you're likely going to have to read through a bunch of different scholarships to find out, oh, hey, no, I don't meet the criteria to apply for this one, or no, I don't meet the criteria to apply for this from. So you're really going to have to weed out the scholarships that you would actually be eligible to apply for. So that is what I think I like most about collegegreenlight.com, is that by creating the profile, it is going to match you to the scholarships. So it makes that process, it streamlines that process a lot, because then the student doesn't have to get discouraged by reading a bunch of different, scholarships and getting excited about them, only to find out, oh, hey, I don't meet the requirements to apply, or I wouldn't be eligible to even apply for that one. So again, the student's able to disclose as much or as little information as they would like in order to match scholarships to the student. I will say that the more robust they make their student profile and the more information that they can give about themselves, the better the chances are that they're going to get more matches for scholarships. And additionally, again, it's what the student's comfortable disclosing, but I know they also have a good list of scholarships for undocumented students. So if a student indicates that they are undocumented in their profile, they could potentially then receive scholarships that they would be able to apply for there. So it can be also a very good resource for our undocumented student populations. And again, once students get that list generated, that does not mean that those are scholarships that the student is getting. That means that those are scholarships that the student can now apply to because they meet the criteria for them. So the nice thing is once that list has been generated, the student can scroll through and decide, okay, which ones do I actually now want to take the time to apply to? And there's a ton of different ways that you can sort that list. So you can sort it by difficulty of application. So if the student's like, you know what, it's e-learning and I've got a lot of downtime, I'm in quarantine, I can't hang out with friends, I've got a lot of time on my hands, then they might want to apply for a scholarship that has a higher difficulty level. If the student, on the other hand, say it was, the student's like really busy and doesn't have a ton of time, they could then apply for a scholarship that has a smaller difficulty level. That being said, I will say typically just be aware that you tend to get more students applying to the scholarships that are easier to apply to instead of the ones that take a little bit longer to apply to. So just think about that. Additionally, something else to mention about the list is some of these scholarships are national scholarships. So they do a good job, collegegreenlight.com, of pulling in scholarships. So they do have some regional and some smaller ones, but there are a lot of national scholarships that are going to be on there. So you want to make sure also you're looking at the competition pool. And it's going to tell you how competitive, that's another feature you can sort by, is how competitive the scholarship is. We recommend that students, when they are looking at scholarships, consider applying to scholarships that are more local or regional whenever possible. Because typically if you have local or regional scholarships, what that means is the application pool is way smaller. So then the student actually has a greater chance of actually being awarded that scholarship because they're competing against less students. However, if you have a student that's applying only to the national scholarships, every student in the country is eligible or may be able to apply for those scholarships. So the competition pool is so much larger that the chances of them actually getting awarded that scholarship are a lot less. Additionally, we always tell students, because a lot of times students will say, you know what, I don't really feel like applying to scholarships, but I'll apply to, one scholarship. And they look at the scholarship that is, the full ride that's going to cover the entire cost of tuition and fees for, 4 years or whatever the case may be. While it is great to apply to those scholarships, I'm never going to dissuade a student from applying to those. I'm also going to tell you, though, don't be intimidated to apply to the little scholarships, the $200 scholarships, the $250 scholarships, because typically those scholarships have a much smaller competition pool, because a lot of students, what do? They look at those and they're like, oh, that one's so small, it's not worth my time to apply to. So then the competition pool gets way smaller for those. So there's a much greater chance that you'll be awarded to those, and those add up. If you can apply and get a few of those small scholarships, that is going to cover, you would be so surprised as a college student, how much of a difference $250 can make in a semester. So just being aware of that when you are looking through the scholarship search engine. That would be definitely my favorite feature of collegegreenlight.com, is that scholarship search engine piece. Again, if you are going to access collegegreenlight.com, remember to either access it through our student portal, and to get to it, you would go through the resource section at studentportal.isac.org, click resources, and you'll see College Greenlight, and it'll link you right over there. Or if you are typing it in, do collegegreenlight.com/ISAC. Again, because if you are using the version that is affiliated with ISAC, because we're a partner, they've taken out the ads in any proprietary schools. Additionally, with collegegreenlight.com, the other feature that it has is you can compare different colleges. So across the country, it's not just Illinois colleges. You can compare colleges across the country. So if you wanted to use this tool as well to get an idea of schools that you might want to apply to, it can be helpful because it'll let you know, statistics about various schools, and you can compare, am I looking for a large school? What region am I looking at? What schools offer these majors? So it can give students that are juniors a really good idea of schools that they potentially want to add to their list of colleges to apply to. So that is another feature that is offered through collegegreenlight.com. And again, it is completely free to students. We got a great question from Tamar or Tamara. I apologize if I am messing up your name, but she said, what is a proprietary school? That is going to be like a for-profit school. So that's normally, you have your big your public universities, your private schools, and then you can have for-profit institutions. And sometimes with for-profit institutions, these are different because these are run more like a business, and sometimes financial aid cannot be applied to these institutions. So they can be trickier, and they can carry a higher out-of-pocket cost for students. So those for-profit or those proprietary schools, those get removed from College Greenlight if you are using the ISAC version of it. Great question. Okay, the next resource that I want to share with you all that's available, and this is for students, and this one is awesome because if you are working with students anywhere from like middle school age through high school, this resource can be used with them. So this is one of my favorite ones. It's Claim Your Future. So again, this is available if you go to our ISAC Student Portal resource section, you're going to see Claim Your Future. This is a game. So it's a game that students can play, and there's two different versions of it. There's an online version. There is also a version that you can get like a physical kit for it. We only send out those physical kits though to schools. And so if you are part of a school and you are listening to this and you're like, hey, that sounds awesome, I would love to get one of those Claim Your Future kits, you can request a kit. If you go to our ISAC resources section, Claim Your Future, there's the sections for you to request a kit, and we will send out, we have a limit right now of 1 kit per school, but we will send out a kit to your school free of charge. However, students at any time can always play the online version of the game, and so this could also be a good way if you wanted to familiarize yourself with it, and you are a teacher or counselor, you could also play the online game. But what it allows you to do is it allows the student to compare various cost of living, kind of the cost of living with degree programs that they are seeking and the potential job that they would get out of that. So I love this because no matter what age you are, it is really engaging, and it is a fun way to get an idea of, okay, is my, my ideal standard of living that I'm envisioning for myself, is it a reality based off of the degree program that I'm seeking and the likely salary that I'm going to have and the job that this degree leads to. So it's an awesome way for students to start to get an idea of like the true value of money and how far their money is going to go. So the cool thing about it, students start by picking their career. So they would pick whether or not they wanted to be, and they have, the awesome thing is they have careers that require no post-secondary education, and then they have careers that require, the doctorate or the professional degree. So it's a very, very wide range. I believe it's like 150 that are available, different careers to choose from on the online version. And again, the levels of schooling for these they completely vary. So we have some that are certificates, we have some that are associate's degrees, there are some that are, bachelor's, master's, whatever. And there's some that's no education. So it's really beneficial because students can see, regardless of how much schooling they're thinking of having, they can see what different careers could potentially lead to it. Then the nice thing about it, so once a student picks a career, it tells you what the typical degree is that the student would need to have to be able to get that career. And it tells you whether or not this is a certificate program that's going to take 2 years, or this is a 4-year degree program, or this you're going to require some type of professional or master's degree in order to get this position. Then it also tells you what the average amount of student loan debt is for students who earn that degree. So the student gets an idea of, okay, how much does the average student take out in student loan debt to get that degree? Once the student has chosen their career and then they see the breakdown of like the education required for the career, it's going to set the student up with a monthly budget. So it's going to tell you that, this is the salary of the position that you chose. So this is the breakdown of monthly expenses. And it's cool because some of the stuff that it takes out is immediate. It takes out, taxes and insurance and things like that right away. And it leaves the student with, okay, this is the amount that you would have to spend discretionary income each month. Then once the student has that information, they walk through cost or standard of living type questions. So where do you want to live? Do you want to live at home with your parent? Do you want to you rent an apartment with roommates? Do you want to rent an apartment on your own? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a condo? Then the student has to pick. Based off of their pick, it is going to go straight into that, monthly budget, and it's going to let the student know, okay, so based off of that, this is how much would get subtracted out monthly. And then they go through all of these other standard of livings, how do they want to eat? What kind of, food do they want to eat out a lot? What type of entertainment? Do they want cable? Do they want internet and Wi-Fi? All of that type of stuff. And if at any time the student breaks budget, they have to go back and they have to make adjustments to their standard of living. So this can be an extremely valuable tool for students. And I think the cool thing about it too is that it's not biased in any way towards any specific career or any specific degree. For example, if you have a student that says that they want to be a long haul trucker, with that degree or with that career, what's required is a certificate, and that certificate takes, I think it's like a year or something to earn. So that student has very, very minimal student debt that they need to take out, and they have a decent amount. Long haul truckers make a decent amount of money, so a student could have a pretty solid standard of living if they chose that path. And it's nice for a student to be able to see that okay, just because it's a certificate program, that doesn't necessarily mean that I won't be able to afford my standard of living. Additionally, it can be really helpful too as a reality check if you have students that are like dead set on, getting a master's degree in a certain field because they want to work, as a social worker or whatever the case may be. It can be really helpful for the student to see, okay, to get that master's degree, you're going to have to take a lot of student loan debt out. So it's likely, or you're not necessarily going to have to take, but it's likely you'll have to take out more student loan debt. So then how is that going to impact your budget? How is that going to impact your standard of living? So this is like one of my favorite games to play. And again, I would recommend it from any ages, from like 6th grade all the way up through your seniors in high school. The way that the game is set up, it's nice if you're doing the online version, it does the math for you, again, which is why, younger age groups could also play this game. And additionally, it gives you a much more realistic expectation of exactly how much or what your standard of living could potentially be with certain careers and the degrees that are required or the certificates that are required to go into those careers. Additionally, the last thing I'm going to say about Claim Your Future is that with this resource, it is based off of Illinois data. So that is awesome too, because when you're looking at the standard of living stuff, that's based off of Illinois data and Illinois averages. So those numbers, those are realistic numbers. It's not like those are, sometimes you'll play these games and you're like, that is not, a very realistic expectation of the cost of living. However, if you are playing Claim Your Future, because it's based off of Illinois data, it is a much more accurate representation of the actual cost that students would potentially pay for that standard of living information. So I want to thank you guys all for joining us, those of you who joined us live. That in no way was an exhaustive list of all of our ISAC resources. However, that was as much as I could give you within the 30-minute time frame here that I had. As a reminder, right now I'm going to put into the comment section our student portal. Again, it is www.studentportal.isac.org. And then everything that I have listed, so that is now in the comment section if you're interested in the hyperlink. All of the resources that I had mentioned on today's presentation can be found at our student portal. So every single thing that I mentioned was straight off of our student portal. So if you're wondering, go to the student portal, and it's either in the toolbox section or the resources section that you'll be able to find more of that information. So thank you all again for joining us, and I appreciate the comments that we got from our people that were joining us live. If you guys have any questions in the meantime, or there's anything you can think of in the meantime that you would need help with as a student, please feel free again to reach out to our ISACorps members. As I mentioned before, I gave them a strong pitch because I really do believe in the work that they're doing, and they are still working currently, even though they can't see students in person. They're still taking calls, emails, setting up virtual meetings. So if you are a student and you need help through any piece of the post-secondary planning or the financial aid process, please feel free to reach out to our core members. And again, you can find your local or your nearest core member using the ISAC student portal. Thank you all and have a great rest of your day.